Part 19. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi Y. Chapter 181. Fenyu didn't bother to pay attention to those resentful eyes, and opened the defensive shield to rebound all of them. Then he took Bai Qianchun and walked to Sheng Baining and the others, and introduced patiently, "This is the eldest sister Sheng Baining. The eldest sister is the one who brought me up since childhood. In my heart, she is better than my biological mother, it's reliable. I have always treated my eldest sister as my own eldest sister. Don't believe those fancy and false rumors outside. Only people with bad minds will believe them when they are passed around. I explained it again in front of everyone at the Muyuan Star Airport just now. Just never mention the merits of Feng Tanggui, a little loser cousin." Feng Tanggui rolled her eyes, childishly. Let her cousin be happy for now, anyway, she will do good deeds and leave a name in front of her sister-in-law. Ladies with bad brains, I was stabbed again, tears of pain fell out. Sheng Baining also said with enthusiasm and seriousness, "Brothers and sisters, just call me eldest sister with the waiter. As for those rumors that the waiter is loyal to his wife, you must not be fooled by those. The villain who wanted to stir up trouble was deceived. I treated the waiter as my own brat and my own son. In the words of Miss Tanggui, no one with a brain would do such a thing that violates ethics and morals. Besides, what about me? A mature, stable, handsome, and powerful husband is not a good choice, who wants to play with a brat like Xiao Er." She strived to resolve the little knots in her siblings' hearts when they first met. Women know women best. If this matter had its roots from the beginning, it would one day grow into a towering tree, just like there is a tree. The disease becomes more serious as it goes on, and may eventually become fatal. Fenyu understood, but didn't want to understand, and snorted dissatisfied in his heart, "Hey, let's talk about it. Can the eldest sister save some face for him, let alone in front of his daughter-in-law?" The villains and ladies who stir up disputes feel that they have come to Muyuan Star in the wrong way. They are not here to pick and sightsee and watch a good show at all. They are here to get stabbed. Hiss, it hurts. Bai Qianchun raised her lips and stabbed them again in a considerate way. "Don't worry, eldest sister, of course I won't fulfill the wishes of those villains who have bad minds and like to stir up trouble. If I really care about it, then I won't. Does it prove that I am stupider than them?" A smile spread across Fenyu's lips, and he was really happy this time. He nodded happily, yes, you are so smart, those mentally retarded women can't compare with you." The ladies, already lying down at the bottom of the pit, they decided to lie down and accept the knife. Then Fenyu introduced Huo Quancheng to Bai Qianchun with a smile, "This is my eldest brother-in-law. You should have heard of him. Marshal Huo, the first civilian marshal. Just call me brother-in-law with me. If anything happens in the future, just ask your eldest brother-in-law for help. It's best not to trick him again." Fenyu transferred the risk with great skill and did not feel sorry for his eldest brother-in-law at all. Huo Quancheng glanced at him with cold eyes, then turned to Bai Qianchun, and said in a calm and magnetic voice, "Hello, sister-in-law, I hope there will be opportunities to cooperate in the future. Smart people understand what smart people say." Bai Qianchun could tell from his short words that he had grasped the news about the shaking light star. She raised the corners of her mouth slightly and agreed, "We are all one family. With my eldest brother-in-law, we are all members of the same family. Of course there will be opportunities for cooperation, but my brothers here also have to settle the score." She has investigated and found that although the first civilian marshal is the first marshal, he is not particularly wealthy. He comes from a commoner background and has a poor family background. The Dark Source star is not a profitable origin star, and its development potential is far less than her Mu-UN star. What's more, he still has a legion of millions of people to support, a poor group. Bai Qianchun, who is obsessed with money, feels that there is still a gap between him and Fenyu, the son of a duke and the richest man in the empire, because she is also extremely short of money now and it is impossible to pay on credit. Huo Quancheng was silent, but Fenyu was very excited. He praised his wife's words in his heart, and then he said quietly from the side, "Brother-in-law, do you need me to provide you with a money-making task chain? If the border is calm next, there will be no battle come on, those stingy old guys in the finance department won't give you large military expenditures anymore, and your legion will be left with nothing." Shen Baining glared at me and said, "Don't bully me, man. What do you mean by sitting on your hands and having nothing? Our army is not poor, and we just discovered 2 valuable wild stars a few days ago. After they are developed, they will be a fortune. Raising 2 there are more than enough for the legion." "Oh, that's it." Fenyu was obviously disappointed. Others, is this a secret they can hear? Before Huang Xing registered, he was a big treasure that everyone could compete for. Bai Qianchun was more down to earth. First he congratulated with a smile, and then decided to talk about cooperation in detail later, never mentioning the embarrassment just now. Shen Baining could tell that this younger sibling was also a shameless businessman. No wonder she could become the wife of the waiter, which made the waiter who always looked down on women break his back. The two have similar interests and it's normal for them to look at each other. Fen Tanggui was listening to the 2 couples talking and having sex. She felt that she, a single, couldn't get in, so she decisively moved to the side, and by the way, she also pulled her sister-in-law who had just supported her into a wave of support for her sister-in-law. Angry at the idiot Cao Jiajia, the 2 girls went to the side to chat hand in hand. Fen Tanggui asked her sister-in-law what happened after she left the main star, and Cao Jiajia asked the boss about his reputation in the main star before. They were both good girls with good intentions and supporters of Bai Qianchun, so the 2 of them got along very well, and within a few minutes they got to know each other. Became sisters. With bright eyes, Fen Tanggui pulled Cao Jiajia into the grass, pulled away the grass leaves outside, and found a strawberry vine inside. Big strawberries bigger than her fist appeared in front of her eyes. She was like, "I was so excited that I rushed forward and picked one and held it in my hand. This strawberry is so big. I'll pick one to try first. Jiajia, do you want one too?" Cao Jiajia's eyes were also shining. She had seen a lot of fruits along the way. Strawberries were already one of the most expensive fruits in the empire. She had only eaten 2 or 3 of them at Grandpa's guests before. Now when she saw such a big, red, and fragrant strawberry, her first thought was, is this a strawberry worthy of her? Cao Jiajia licked her lips, suppressed the overflowing saliva, looked away with difficulty, resisted the temptation and said, "No, no, the boss didn't ask me to eat for free. I'd better wait until I meet Xingman and negotiate the price before coming back pick it." Oh, Fen Tanggui was a little disappointed, but she quickly regained her composure. She took out a knife and cut the strawberry in half. She gave half to Cao Jiajia and said with a smile, "Half for you and half for me. Originally if you want to eat one, I'll give you half of it from me, so it's what I want to eat." Cao Jiajia hesitated, "This." Fen Tanggui, "Oh, just eat it. My sister-in-law is such a nice person, she won't care about such a trivial matter." Cao Jiajia was immediately convinced and smiled shyly, "You are right, the boss is a good man, so thank you for sharing half of the strawberries with me. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs." Author, Lan Shan Lu Zy. Chapter 182. After the introductions were completed, Bai Qianchun personally led Fenyu, Shen Baining, and others around a hanging corpse and headed inside. Fen Tanggui hurriedly followed and asked enthusiastically, "Sister-in-law, what mistake did these people make? How long will they have to hang out?" Bai Qianchun and Fenyu had already entered into acting mode and were walking side by side. Fen Yu looked at Baikin Chun's little cousin who was coming up to her on the other side, and glanced away in disgust, and then a little bit. I'm curious, although the ancient doctor is a woman who can fight, she won't attack casually. What did these people do to cause such a big deal? Yang, who ran out to find someone, happened to hear it. His expression did not change, and he even replied happily, I know this, just ask me. When Bai Qianchun saw his unclouded smile, the look in her eyes softened. Why did you come out? Yang hurriedly looked over and smiled brightly at Bai Qianchun. Sister Chun, hey, Erbian asked me to come and see when you are coming, Sister Chun. By the way, I want to ask how many people are coming for the buffet barbecue in the evening. He explained, since yesterday, several tourists have been arriving on Wuyuan planet. They really like the barbecue made by Erbing and Erbingpa, so we set up a self-service barbecue to provide a buffet, which charges 888 stars. You can go in and eat at the buffet for just 1 coin. So Erbian asked me to come over and ask how many people here are going to eat at the buffet barbecue. We can make a rough estimate and prepare the ingredients. Oh, Bai Qianchun nodded appreciatively in his heart. Yes, he has developed a new project by himself. Although the charge of 888 star coins per person is a bit high, for these tourists who are either rich or expensive, it is definitely affordable, not to mention that this is a unique barbecue on Wuyuan planet. Just the word special is very valuable. Whose scenic spot charges are not twice as expensive as outside. Bai Qianchun was satisfied in her heart, but when she glanced at her fake husband who she had just met next to her, she paused, then endured the pain in her heart and said, the people your brother-in-law brought will not be charged for the barbecue buffet tonight. Now, treat it as my invitation to them, help them clean up the dust, and you can arrange for someone to pick some fruits and cut them into a platter, so that we can have a barbecue later for a change. Reluctant to give up the child, she could not trap the wolf. She had just cheated Feng Yuyu's free transport ship of the Feng family. She had to express her gratitude. Otherwise, according to Feng Yuyu's small-mindedness, she might agree to it openly but secretly do it. If you stumble her, the gain will outweigh the loss. The transport ship is a long-term thing, at least until the initial construction of Muyuan Star is completed. She will not be able to afford the transport ship, so this matter will have to rely on the Feng family transport ship. This person can't cheat too hard yet. So she showed a little bit of sincerity within her own ability, so that she could get an advantage and the other party would have face. Sure enough, after Feng Yuyu heard this, the depression in his heart that had just been cheated immediately disappeared. The corners of his mouth curled up, and the smile on the evil handsome face became dazzling. Opposite Yang was almost blinded. He shouted in surprise, "What, brother-in-law?" Yang decisively aimed his gaze at the man next to Bai Qianchun. He had indeed heard Sister Chun mention such a husband before. He didn't take it seriously before, thinking that Sister Chun was using it to deceive the rutabaga star spirit. Yes, who knew a husband would actually pop up? Suddenly, he was very critical of the man in front of him. Then he turned to look at Bai Qianchun and asked suspiciously, Sister Chun, what do you like about him? Is it because of his face? Feng Yuyu frowned and glanced at this boy who didn't even have hair. How could he talk? Is he the kind of man who relies on his face to get ahead? Bai Qianchun thought for a while and finally decided to tell the truth. Well, it's probably because of money. Feng Yuyu, although these are his advantages, why do they sound so unpleasant? A man who relies on money to get into power, task, doesn't sound right to you. But Sheng Baining, the eldest sister, still didn't sympathize with him. Instead, she looked gloating, as if you had the same expression at this time. Feng Yuyu was dissatisfied, but Sheng Baining was completely concerned and even laughed out loud. Damn it, you kid wanted to bully my man just now. It's not that biological siblings are better than biological siblings, the relationship between siblings will be broken if it breaks. Hearing Baikin Chun's answer, Ye Yang felt much more comfortable. It was indeed something that their sister Chun could do. If Sister Chun said it was for money, then it was definitely for money, and there was definitely no love. So he shouted smoothly, "Brother-in-law. How many people did the brother-in-law bring? How much food do they have? How many cows can they eat in one go?" Fentane Gui raised her hand and replied weakly, "I can't kill even a cow, I can only kill half of the cow's leg." Ha ha ha. Ye Yang looked over at her and couldn't help laughing. After being slapped on the back of the head by Bai Jian Chun, he restrained himself and bared his teeth and said, "Ahem, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I have never seen such a cute and serious girl like you." Fentane Gui's pretty and heroic face frowned, and she said dissatisfiedly, "Little girl, you should call me sister, you are not even taller than me, you must be a younger brother." This sentence directly hit Ye Yang's sore feet, and he immediately jumped to retort, "You look down on short people, just wait, I will definitely grow taller in the future, very tall, right Sister Chun?" He looked at Bai Jian Chun pitifully, with tears in his eyes. Bai Jian Chun had a headache and said comfortingly, "Yes, the ingredients for the bone strengthening pill are all gathered. I can make the bone strengthening pill tomorrow and let Uncle Ye Quan prepare. Tomorrow, his legs can also start treatment." Ye Yang's eyes lit up and he nodded like a chicken pecking at rice, "Yeah, that's great. I'll tell Uncle Ye Quan soon." Not to be outdone, Fentane Gui came over to compete for favor. "Sister-in-law," he was the first to talk about my little girl. "If I am so tall and well-developed, why should this little brother talk about me like an elder? Bai Jian Chun, this is really qualified." Ye Yang was indeed older than Fentane Gui in his previous life. But this secret cannot be told. She can only drink a bowl of water and say, "Good boy, I will also give you some beauty elixirs and whitening pills tomorrow. Jia Jia has used them and the results are very good. You can ask her." Fentane Gui didn't expect such a good thing. Her eyes lit up with excitement. Okay, thank you, sister-in-law." Cao Jia Jia looked over with envious eyes. Sure enough, the sister-in-law of a big boss was more popular. Then Bai Jian Chun hurriedly returned to the topic, "Ye Yang, there are 12 people on your brother-in-law's side. Over there are your brother-in-law's eldest sister and eldest brother-in-law and the 7 comrades they brought over. In addition, there are the 2 friends I brought, Master Cao Ting and his granddaughter whom I mentioned to you before, are known to Grandpa Mizu. Please tell Grandpa Mizu to stop staying at home and come out to eat together. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lan Shan Lu Zy. Chapter 183. "Oh, okay." Ye Yang agreed with a smile, then stood on tiptoes and looked at the group of ladies behind him whose skirts were torn and their styles were messed up. He pointed at them, "What about them?" Bai Jian Chun turned her head and took a look. The ladies immediately raised their heads and held their chests high, showing a proud look. They are all people of noble status. Although this woman is the wife of little Lord Feng, as the Star Master of Jupiter, she must always invite them to be landlords. This is a rule, not to mention that they were love rivals before. All the more reason why she should invite them to show her virtuous and generous nature. Apparently they had forgotten Bai Jian Chun's attitude of mocking and ignoring them just now. Bai Jian Chun glanced across them lightly, then looked back, "I don't know any of them, so just act like an ordinary tourist." Qin Yushin gritted her teeth, her beautiful eyes filled with the sense of humiliation of being slighted. She is a dignified princess, but when has anyone ever trampled on her like this? She is now so popular on the Star Network, and is the most popular princess in the royal family. It is absolutely impossible for anyone not to know her. She seems to have grasped the point where she can attack Bai Qianchun. Everyone was inexplicably excited. Qin Yushin had already been unable to maintain a clear mind during the successive blows, and she no longer had the calm demeanor to control people's hearts while standing outside the crowd. Now she was so angry that she was ready to go on stage personally. But Feng Tanggui didn't give her a chance to show off. She took the lead and shook her head in disapproval. "Sister-in-law, how could you not know me? These people have all spread bad words about you. You are just too kind. If it were me, I would definitely charge them double." Bai Qianchun didn't have any reaction, but Ye Yang exploded first. "What, these people actually spread bad words about my sister Chun? But no, our Muyuan planet has the rules of Muyuan star, and it is not allowed to destroy the normal price list. But if they want to eat, they have to pay a rumored compensation fee before they can be let in." Feng Tanggui's eyes lit up. "What you said makes sense. I think it would be good for everyone to pay 1 million star coins. 1 to 1 million." Ye Yang, a country bumpkin who had never seen such a big deal before, swallowed his saliva, feeling a little overwhelmed in his heart. "It's a lot of money. Counting the 30 women here, that's more than 30 million. His. Ye Yang's eyes were filled with excitement. But the noble ladies opposite could not bear the grievance. "Huh, if you don't want to eat, you won't eat. There are rumors that compensation is impossible. Yes, let's go. I don't want to stay in this damn place any longer. That's right, let's go back and have a 5-star meal. There are also 5-star chefs on the battleship. It will definitely be better than the simple barbecue here." A group of women held up their skirts and walked out angrily, which made Qin Yushin, who was unwilling to stay, look ugly. She looked at Bai Qianchun angrily. It was definitely this woman's intention. Bai Qianchun, she didn't do anything. This result was not what she wanted. She didn't want to let go of the big fat sheep that finally came to her door. These ladies have made it clear that they are big-breasted and have no brains, and they can't stand stimulation. Is there any fat sheep that can pull off wool better than them? The accident happened suddenly at this moment. The 2 noble ladies who were the first to leave tripped over the tree vines and fell to the ground in horror. The noble ladies who followed angrily did not attention. He also stumbled, and then he was tripped by the people in front of him. One after another, screams came one after another. After a while, a group of noble ladies in gorgeous clothes fell into a ball. Even Qin Yushin could not escape becoming a member of Rujiamo. The noble girl at the bottom let out a scream like a slaughtered pig, and said in pain, "Quick, get out of here, I can't breathe under the pressure. It's not good, it's not good, it's over." The next 2 have passed. "Oh, who pulled my hair? Is it you, Wang Xiaoxin? I know you are jealous of my good hair. Master Eris praised me. Ah, you were the one who pinched my butt first. You were jealous of my butt before, okay, now you're doing it secretly." The ladies who were piled up and fell into a ball had their skirts tangled up and their hair tangled up in their hair. "You pulled my hair and I kicked you." Now they were completely crazy women who could only scream and curse at each other. After being kicked several times, having her hair pulled out several times, and finally being hit with an elbow, Qin Yushin, who had black eye circles, couldn't stand the stimulation and passed away. I don't know if someone deliberately took this opportunity to make a secret move or if she was just so unlucky and suffered disaster. Bai Qianchun and the others never expected that things would develop like this. They were dumbfounded. It seems that they are not very harmonious among themselves. In the end, the farce lasted for 15 minutes and ended when the lady's strength was exhausted. About 30 people were dizzy and panting. In the end, no one was able to return to the battleship. Sheng Baining helped and notified the maid who stayed on the battleship to come and take care of their master. Bai Qianchun took the opportunity to kindly feel their pulse, charged for the treatment, sold a few ordinary pills, and also launched a short tree house to provide them with shelter, charging 1,222 star coins per room per day. It can be regarded as a handful of wool. What else can the ladies do? They can only choose to obey. However, a few of the noble ladies who were still awake actually changed their minds after the fight. They realized that Muun was getting better, so they didn't go back without complaining. They spontaneously paid the roomer compensation and the buffet fee. Followed into the small square of the village and had barbecue with others. Looking at the 7-digit amount in the account, Bumpkin Yang was shocked. They really paid so much. Since he came to Interstellar, his account balance has never exceeded double digits. Now that he suddenly sees so much money, he is almost stupid. Feng Tanggui was sitting by the bonfire, and the bright and dying firelight fell on her charming and heroic face. Her happy eyes were shining with stars. After hearing the words, she looked towards Yang and took a bite. Roasted flour cai said, "It can be fake. Brother, you are looking at the sky from the bottom of a well. 1 million is nothing to them. The price of one of their earrings is 1 million. It was dark just now. If you were beaten like that, some jewelry must have fallen on the ground. If you look for it at dawn tomorrow, you might be able to pick up a few $1,000,000. His Yang's eyes were shining, and he was really eager to try. Leng Xiao, who was standing in front of the barbecue rack and was swiping the sauce evenly with his hands, was also a little excited when he heard it. He didn't have to wait for tomorrow, he could pick it up at night. However, the incident just now was too close to the inhabited tree house, so it was easily noticed. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 184. There are many shadows in the giant green forest, and the towering trees cover most of the light in the sky. No one who is timid dares to walk in this giant dense forest, for fear that something will accidentally appear in the dense jungle. Take the person away. In this giant dense forest, only a small village that had been tidied up was uniquely lively. 8 or 9 bonfires were piled up, and the flames were extinguished. Along with the laughter, there was also an alluring aroma of barbecue. Puyi, as the noble girl who survived the accident and did not faint, has now put on the long clothes and trousers given by the maid. Her sleeves are rolled up to reveal her slender white forearms, which are white, soft and well maintained. The 2 jade hands were holding 2 skewers in the left hand and 3 skewers in the right hand, and they were eating happily. A noble lady who was friends with her looked at her with disdain. "You, where have you learned the etiquette? You are not afraid of people laughing at you." Puyi's face stained with sauce curled up with a smile, and he shook his head. "Don't be afraid. The way we rolled into a ball and started fighting with our hair just now was even more uncultured and disrespectful. If they dare to speak against me, I will dare to speak back." I can't help but taunt her back, especially that woman Wang Xiaoxin. I remember clearly how she secretly pinched my waist. Oh, it's just a pity that I was so absorbed in rolling around in the crowd just now that I forgot to turn on the camera and take a picture of the scene. Otherwise, I would have a reason to laugh at them. If anyone dares to say bad things about me in the future, I will tell her what she just did. Cut it out so that everyone in our circle can see how ugly she is. Hearing this, the lady beside her also lit up her eyes, looking a little moved. "Do you want a video?" a cool and melodious voice interjected, and immediately after, the tip of his nose smelled an elegant herbal scent, which scared Puyi to the point where he almost pierced his fragile lips with the skewer in his hand. Puyi and the little sister sitting next to her turned their heads and looked over, with annoyed expressions on their faces. They were about to get angry, but they saw a very familiar black mask. Puyi's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly suppressed the anger on his face, and said with a sneer, "Feng, Mrs. Feng, what can I do for you? Oh my God, they can't afford to offend this evil god." The strings of corpses hanging in the small square outside are proof of her skills. If she gets angry, she will be killed like a child with one punch. It would be terrible for them. Bai Qian-chun, who was holding the fruit plate in her hand, cast her eyes down and glanced around her face with an uneasy expression, and said softly, "I was just passing by, and I heard you guys saying you wanted a video. I just happened to take it and sell it to you. One serving." The eyes of Puyi and the little sister next to him suddenly brightened. "Buy, let's buy. How many star coins will we transfer now? Ah, we need to add another communication. Bai Qian-chun, you can give me 3,000 star coins as long as you like, but it is forbidden to spread it." Puyi immediately understood, and then nodded quickly like a chicken pecking at rice. "I understand, Mrs. Feng, we all understand. Don't worry, if other people want the video, I will let them buy it from you." Bai Qian-chun gave her a good look, then exchanged communication numbers with the two of them, transferred money with one hand and transferred videos with the other, and the transaction was happily concluded. Puyi smacked her lips with satisfaction, and her eyes couldn't help but glance at the fruit platter in Bai Qian-chun's hand. She licked her lips that were stained with the fragrance of soy sauce, licked her face and asked, "Young Master Feng Madam, are you selling the washed and cut fruit plate like this? Although the barbecue flavor is very good, it is too rich and needs some fresh fruits to relieve the greasiness." "Well, sell them for 500 stars each. It's an additional charge for the buffet, but the quantity is not large. You can buy it yourself over there." Okay, thank you, Mrs. Feng." After the two of them watched Bai Qian-chun leave with the fruit plate, they breathed a sigh of relief. "It's so scary. Her aura is so powerful. My heart trembles as soon as I see her. She's more powerful than the third princess. She is so majestic, no wonder young Lord Feng would marry her as his wife." Another person also said lazily, "Yes, strong people only play with strong people. I used to be unconvinced by the rumors that she was a disfigured little pitiful person, but now I just don't believe it just by looking at her aura. If I dare to argue with her again, I have decided to give up young Master Feng. When I return from Wuyuan Star, I will tell my parents that I can't compete with this young lady Feng, and my status is not as good as the master of Wuyuan Star. I believe them. I won't take this risk again." Puyi nodded when he heard this and agreed, "Your analysis is so right. I will tell my family the same thing when I go back. I can't get involved with young Master Feng. Let them change their target as soon as possible." For example, the previous upstart Li Heu, Major General Li, was pretty good. He was handsome and gentle, he was my favorite, he was not as difficult to deal with as young Lord Feng, and even if he was rejected, it would not be that embarrassing. Another noblewoman, that's true, but that Li Heu is just a major general, and he is just the third son who cannot inherit the title. He is too far removed from little Lord Feng. Will the elders of your family agree? Will they agree? What I am interested in is the Duke title of young Lord Feng and the wealth of the Feng group, so I have a huge appetite. This is also the helplessness of noble ladies like them. Noble ladies like them who are supported by their families must shoulder the obligations given by their families since they enjoy the glory brought by their families. Marriage is the biggest obligation of all noble ladies. But now in the empire, the best marriage partner is none other than Feng Yuyu. Even the current imperial crown prince is not as valuable as Feng Yuyu. The former's inheritance rights and wealth are already certain, and he belongs to the Feng family. The only heir, but His Highness the Crown Prince is not. He also has several brothers who are very competitive and eyeing him. It is uncertain whether he will be able to sit in that position alive in the future. Therefore, investing in Fenja Jade is an absolute surefire way to make a profit, but there are still risks for others. With such a comparison, who wouldn't be willing to choose the one that is sure to make a profit but not lose any money? Therefore, not all of them, the noble ladies who have been attacking Feng Yuyu one after another, have fallen in love with this young Lord Feng who has a vicious tongue and a deep hatred for women. Many of them are driven by the interests of the family behind them. Bite the bullet and come up to grab this delicious piece of cake. Puyi is one of the noble ladies promoted by her family. In fact, she prefers men who are gentler and more reserved. Puyi sighed, and his originally cheerful face turned gloomy, and said with sadness, "Who knows, we can't hang Mr. Feng on a tree with a crooked neck. I will propose it when I get back. I suggest you try your best to get it, and besides, Li Hao is not that bad. Lord Feng is a big meaty bone, so he can be regarded as a short rib, not as good as the big meaty bones, but much better than ordinary small pieces of meat. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs." Author, Lan Shan Luzi. Chapter 185. Sister Puyi, do you need help? Shen Nan said with a clear and smiling voice, and then she sat down between the two of them with a plate of roasted cauliflower. "Hey, Sister Xiao Xiao, why are you here? I haven't seen you on the starship before." Puyi happily moved to the side and greeted. In the noble girl's sister group, everyone tried their best to maintain harmony on the surface, but there were actually a lot of calculations behind the scenes. For example, the accident just now directly exposed the disharmony within them. However, the relationship between Puyi and Shen Nangxiao, a little sister, has always been good. Shen Nangxiao was born in the Sheng family. The Sheng family is the first family in the empire. It has a very high status and its children are all successful. There is no need for marriage like other families. Shen Nangxiao is naturally different from these noble ladies who are driven by their families to get married. Firstly, Puyi envies her for being so free, and secondly, the Sheng family is the one their family needs to be friends with. For the two reasons combined, with Puyi's deliberate relationship maintenance, the two naturally get along very well. Shen Nangxiao grabbed a piece of roasted cauliflower and took a bite. While breathing in the heat, she said, "Shen Xixiang and I came here together on His Highness the Prince's battleship. Of course you didn't see me on the starship. Pu Sister Yi, you haven't answered my question yet. Do you need my help?" "Help? Help with what?" "Of course I want to convince your family to find another partner." Puyi's eyes lit up. "Sister Xiao Xiao, do you have any ideas?" Shen Nan smiled broadly and said, "Yes, I filmed the whole process of Mrs. Feng surrounding people and beating them in the afternoon, as well as the magnificent scene of the fight with His Highness the Prince. As long as you take this video back, if your family still has a conscience, if I do, I will never let you come again to try to win the title of Little Lord, otherwise the end will be the same miserable situation as Shen Shenxiang." "Si Shenxiang? What's wrong with her?" Shen Nangxiao laughed happily. "She is in such a miserable condition now. She doesn't have any good flesh on her body, and even her face was beaten to pieces. She is just like those hanging corpses in the small square before. Let me show you a short video." When Puyi heard this, she immediately became interested. She had nothing to do with Shen Shenxiang. Shen Shenxiang was just a mid-level person. Shen family's adopted daughter was raised on the main star. However, this woman was so arrogant that she relied on the Shen family and the fourth prince, and the support of the third princess, but they didn't take them seriously at all, which is really resentful. She and her little sisters leaned their heads over, and the ladies not far away couldn't resist their curiosity and came over to take a look. As a result, the more they looked at each other, the colder they felt. Hiss, how miserable. Shen Shenxiang in the short video was really miserable. She was thrown into a pile of vine whips and was whipped like the bodyguards. She, with her thin skin and tender flesh, was not as good as the bodyguards who had thick skin and could be whipped 3 or 2 times. She was stained with blood, and her face was stained with blood. She was definitely disfigured. No matter how she screamed and begged for mercy at the young lady Feng, it was useless. It was not until His Highness the Prince spoke to give her a breath that the dying breath was taken out. That wasn't the end of it. She was later hung on a vine with the same treatment as the bodyguards, and became one of the row of hanging corpses. After watching the whole process of her torture, the noble ladies were frightened. Those hanging corpses did not have as big an impact on them as this short video. This was the cruelty they had seen with their own eyes, and they were afraid of that person. Take it to the next level. They swallowed hard. No wonder, no wonder, I thought there was a particularly thin one among the hanging corpses. It turned out to be Shen Xixiang. Why did she anger young Madame Feng? Does she also want to rob young Lord Feng? That shouldn't be the case. The Shen family and the Feng family have never dealt with each other. Shen Nangxiao took the opportunity and said, I guess it was Shen Shenxiang who persuaded His Highness Prince Shenxiang to touch Madame Feng's brother. Shen Shenxiang was slandering His Highness the Prince's heirs, hoping that His Highness would rob Madame Feng by force. This little man who just recognized his younger brother as His Highness on Wuyuan planet was taught to be like this, so I advise the sisters, Ms Feng is really not easy to mess with, her methods are ruthless, and her heart is ruthless. He's just a newly recognized brother. If you want to steal her husband, her methods will definitely be more ruthless than this. Several heads around nodded quickly. You are right, Sister Xiao Xiao, can you send me this video? I will go back to persuade my parents. If they still force me to grab the title of Little Lord, I will just die for them to see. It is better to wipe your own neck than smoke it until it looks like a human being and a ghost. Yes, I also bought it to show to my family. Ms Feng is not a weak dog-tailed flower, she is a king flower with long thorns. It is too cruel. I don't want to go against her, let alone disfigure her. It's too awful. Everyone's will is so strong that their resistance is almost overwhelming. Shen Nangxiao rolled her eyes flexibly. Yes, but I risked my life to shoot this video. I have to charge 3,000 star coins once. You can't repost it and send it to others. You can only introduce other people to buy from me. Okay. Puyi decisively spent another 3,000 star coins. She looked at Shen Nangxiao, who left after collecting the bill, sending the video and completing the transaction, and she always felt that something was wrong. Shen Nangxiao wandered between several bonfires. Seeing that no one noticed her, she hurried to one of the stone houses. Baikan Chunzhen, Feng Yuyu, Feng Tanggui, and others were sitting inside eating, when the door was suddenly pushed open a crack, and a head poked its head in. Bai Qianchun looked sideways and raised the corners of her mouth. Come in. Hey, here we come. Shen Nan smiled with her mouth raised, her smiling eyes opened the door and walked in. After entering, she closed the door obediently, and then trotted up to Bai Qianchun happily. Sister Chun, I have completed the task you gave me. Those noble ladies have all watched the video in the afternoon, and I think they will definitely not dare to covet Brother Feng anymore. Also, the video just now was sold 10 times in total and earned 30,000 yuan. Bai Qianchun nodded in a good mood. Well, just give me 15,000 as agreed before. You don't need to delete the video. Someone will definitely ask you to buy it next. Shen Nangxiao responded cheerfully, okay, Sister Chun. Feng Yuyu leaned on the back of the chair. Even the hard wooden chair could not stop his lazy posture. He put a hand on the back of Baikan Chun's chair and opened his eyelids to look at Shen Nangxiao. Isn't this the youngest sister in the eldest sister's family? How come she has such a good relationship with this woman Bai Qianchun? Feng Yuyu was very confused, and then asked, Wife, what video are you and Xiaomei Sheng talking about? Please reveal it to me. After watching the video, those women will stop coveting me. I also want to learn how to do it myself. Cutting off the rotten peach blossoms can also reduce your burden. Bai Qianchun glanced back at him. I think you want to steal business from me. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi Y. Chapter 186. But after thinking about it, Bai Qian-chun decided to tell him the method. Okay, you also find the woman who pesters you the most and give her a good beating. Remember, the kind that will even beat her face to pieces. I'll get there. I'll make a video for you to promote it when the time comes. Once the reputation of you beating women and disfiguring them gets spread, I guess there won't be many women flocking around you like flies seeing shit. Fen Yuyu's smile froze and she couldn't help but choke. No, what's wrong with this woman Guyi? She actually compared him to shit. Can she be as good looking and suave as he is? Ah, he's not shit. In order to smear him, he did everything possible, even giving up elegant words, which made me feel depressed. But can he be angry? No. Now he plays the character of a man who is deeply in love, loves his wife, and loves his wife blindly. The character must not collapse. He gritted his teeth and kept a doting smile on his face. This method, my wife said, is really good. If those flies still dare to come up to me, I will definitely try this method. Shen Nangxiao on the side looked at him in surprise. Hey, I really want to try it. Her expression was a little tangled. Although it was indeed immoral for the group of sisters outside to stare at a married man and try to steal him, not all the sisters were shameless, and some were forced by their families. Moreover, she had been hanging out with this group of sisters for a while, and had a good impression of Sister Puyi. Speaking of which, in order to complete the family's mission and tasks, Sister Puyi often went to Brother Feng to confess her love and hook up. What if Brother Feng thinks that she is the most annoying one? Should he take her out and beat her face to bits to scare the monkeys? She looked embarrassed and stammered, well, it's not good to do this. Feng Yuyu paused and glanced at her with a smile. What's wrong? I think this idea my wife came up with is great. I used to have a too good temper and didn't do anything, so I asked them to kick their noses and hit their eyes. Now they want to provoke me in front of my wife, and they want to alienate our relationship as husband and wife. I have to teach them a lesson, otherwise I will be sorry to my wife. He had a look of anger on his evil face, and his tone was righteous. The corners of Shen Nangxiao's mouth twitched, and her expression was hard to describe. When did Brother Feng get better? This self-awareness is too lacking. Shen Baining was still watching the show. Hearing this, she gave a thumbs up to support her second brother. Xiao Er, you are right, those women are really not good enough. The atmosphere in this circle is really bad. For those you don't care about any interests, etiquette, and honor, and you are rushing to sell your daughter. Not to mention you, even your brother-in-law, with his icy face and aura of not letting strangers in, has had a few people come to him in the past few days. You should teach them a lesson. What's the matter with trying to cling to men one by one? If you have the ability, fight for yourself. Like me, like my brothers and sisters, the two of us can still live without you, brother-in-law. Things are booming. But if some people really have no choice but to vent their anger on them, they must also put pressure on the families behind them. After a while, when I am free, I can come to them in person to ask for advice on the upbringing of my daughter. Bai Qian-chun nodded slightly, his voice cold but with a hint of ferocity. I'm busy on Wuyuan planet, so I won't go with my eldest sister, but I have a good talent for medicine and can provide medicine that can make people miserable and unable to die. Shen Nangxiao took a breath and was stunned in shock. She was still the best among them. Is this the anger of a woman who covets a man? Just when she was already imagining the miserable scenes of parents being beaten up and given poison by her sister, she heard Bai Qian-chun's cold voice return to her normal tone. Okay, the recording is done, let's broadcast this. It can save you a lot of trouble in the end. If anyone dares to get together again, it's either true love that is fearless, or someone who is desperate and desperate. Feng Yuyu's straight back relaxed and she leaned back lazily. With a smile on her lips, she said to Bai Qianchun with a weak smile, "Honey, I'll cooperate well." Bai Qianchun raised her eyes and looked at him. "Well, not bad, the response is very fast." Just when the corners of Fen Yuyu's lips were rising with pride, Bai Qianchun said again, "The eldest sister cooperates better. Her few threats have solved most of the worries." Shen Baining smacked the skewers, swallowed the food after hearing this, and said with a smile, "Brothers and sisters, you're welcome. I'm helping myself by helping you. What I just said is also true. I did meet someone after I came back this time. There are many women who covet your brother-in-law. Hey, even when I am still around, there are people who dare to provoke me and rush to get close to me. If I haven't made a move, they really think that I am easy to bully. I don't want to jump into their black quagmire. Here, you are contaminated by the dirty aristocratic atmosphere of everyone playing their own games. I must be the only man I have. Last time he almost fell in love with a woman. I punished him by kneeling on the durian all night. Brothers and sisters, you have to get up and let these men know that they made a mistake. As a result, otherwise they will be confused and make mistakes in the future, which will be difficult to remedy." The waiter was very popular at the main star's banquet a few days ago. I heard that he was the most popular boy among the girls. 3 football teams lined up to confess to him. What a temptation. You also have to give him a penalty so that he can remember it for a long time, otherwise he will think that you are a bully and can turn things around with just a few words of coaxing. Although he is not tempted now, there is no guarantee that he will do it again next time. Well, no one can guarantee that his original intention will remain unchanged and that he will always be devoted to you. After all, men all have bad qualities. After finishing speaking, she gave Bai Qianchun advice without stopping, "Brothers and sisters, I think the durians on your Muyuan star are growing very well, so it would be better to spread them over a large area. I'll buy some tomorrow. Take it back and give it to your brother-in-law for later use." The smile on Fen Yuyu's lips stagnated, and he could no longer be happy. "Sister, who is your real brother?" He actually encouraged that woman Bai Qianchun to make him kneel on the durian. He glanced at his brother-in-law Huo Quancheng again. "I didn't expect that you, the general, would be punished by your wife by kneeling on durians. This is too undignified. Fortunately, he is not a real wife and will not teach him the secrets of the eldest sister's godfather, so he is still safe." Huo Quancheng peeled the orange slowly with his calloused hands. He noticed the sympathetic look in his brother-in-law's eyes. He raised his head and looked over. His calm and deep eyes were calm and unruffled. He did not feel any shame or anger at his wife's dark history being exposed. His mood looked quite good. Stabilize. Is this really domesticated? Fen Yuyu felt sympathy for him for a while. He had misunderstood before. It turned out that it was him who was being bullied and not the eldest sister. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lan Shan Lu Zy. Chapter 187. Bai Qianchun looked at Shen Baining and felt that the heroine in the dream was really a very capable person, and even the average person couldn't catch up with her as a tamer. She was different. As a punishment, she didn't need to be made to kneel on a durian or lie down on a durian. She could just go to the pharmacy and be a drug tester for her. Fen Yuyu, who didn't know what he would suffer in the future, suddenly felt a chill in his back. What turtle grandson wanted to plot against him? The eldest sister still had to give her face. Bai Qianchun agreed with the eldest sister's words, nodded and asked Fen Yuyu to go back and kneel on the durians, and then said that he could accompany the eldest sister to pick out a few suitable durians tomorrow. Shen Nangxiao, Fen Tanggui, Cao Jiajia and other girls in the room had bright eyes, saying that they had learned a lot. This is the art of controlling husbands, it's so amazing. The expressions of the men were a little complicated. They never expected that their current wives would be so tough, so much so that they no longer dared to take a wife and wanted to continue paying the single tax. Baji Baji cast a sympathetic look at Marshal Huo, the warrior, while he was carelessly masturbating, and then glanced at Fen Yuyu, the next warrior who was about to die. After talking about kneeling on durians to tame her husband, Bai Qianchun returned to the topic and sent the recording to Shen Nangxiao, "Leave this to you to spread and sell it for 3,000 star coins. Just say that you did it for the sisters. I risked my life and recorded it secretly." Shen Nangxiao nodded quickly like a chicken pecking at rice, and patted her chest to express that once it was raw and twice it was cooked, she would complete the task better and faster this time with experience, and she would go after she finished eating the piece of durian meat. Then she said with a smile, "Brother Feng won't pick someone to slap his face to scare the monkeys." Fen Yuyu was still immersed in the brainstorming about how disrespectful it would be to marry a real wife. He ignored her question and Bai Qianchun answered on his behalf, "It depends on whether they are on the road or not. If anyone else dares to join in, I'll let him do it, or I'll do it myself, but don't worry, I'm not really a big devil who can destroy flowers with ruthless hands. Even if their faces are really rotten, it's not unsolvable. I have medicine to repair their faces. They can restore their appearance as long as they spend a lot of money to buy it. I make money, and they learn a lesson, killing two birds with one stone." Shen Nangxiao, Sister Chun is awesome and considerate. She felt relieved immediately and acted more actively. After stuffing the durian meat into her mouth, she rushed out non-stop and continued to be her middleman. Needless to say, this business of scaring people and making money is really fun and feels great. Bai Qianchun looked at her back as she stepped out of the door, the corners of her mouth curled up, and she was in a good mood. Selling videos and recordings this time was something she suddenly realized. Although she agreed to Fen Yuyu's acting and was ready to pull hair and have weird tea talk with those women, who knew that things just happened to happen to them. It was the brutal scene where her body was hanged after the battle. So she had an idea at that time and came up with a plan to intimidate him into quitting. The identity of Muyuan Star Master was revealed to show that she was not a soft persimmon. The first wave of intimidation was easy to handle. The battle with hanging corpses was the second wave of intimidation. The video playback made them face her brutal methods. The third wave of threats was to scare them away. And in the end, this a recording is a clear threat. 4 attacks in a row can scare the courage of many people, and she can not only make money, but also avoid the trouble of getting jealous and hair-raising with those women, and reduce the difficulty of acting, so why not do it? After finishing this scene, Bai Qianchun said a sweet farewell to Fen Yuyu. To be precise, it was a unilateral farewell from Fen Yuyu, and then she walked towards the larger stone house next door. In the stone house, the star citizens who had finished eating had already arrived, including 15 free laborers such as farmers and nobles. "Star Lord, what do you want from us?" The star citizens were sitting on rows of long benches, and the whole room was noisy. As soon as they saw Bai Qianchun walking in, they couldn't wait to ask, because after the encounter in the afternoon, even Ye Yang felt that Bai Qianchun wanted to have sex. Her son and her mother, who was prejudiced against her, both had a much better attitude towards Bai Qianchun. She didn't know whether it was because she was grateful for saving her son from becoming the 18th little man in the family, or because she was frightened by Bai Qianchun's ferocity in beating people and hanging their bodies in the afternoon. Anyway, she didn't dare to murmur anymore. The other star citizens were even more enthusiastic. The Star Master rescued their cub from Mu Yuen Star and fought with His Highness the Prince without fear of power. They were completely different from the previous coward Wang Zi. Bai Qianchun looked at their smiling faces and the rows of big white teeth exposed. The corners of her mouth were slightly raised. She walked to the front of the stone house and made a quiet gesture. After seeing the understanding voices of the star citizens gradually disappearing, she said straight to the point, "I'm here to talk to you about the payment of labor wages. Although you are the star citizens of Jupiter, We are all working hard to jointly build Jupiter. But there is no reason to work for nothing, so I plan to pay you wages. However, I have just started now and I don't have much original capital in hand, so I can only pay according to the minimum requirements of the interstellar first. Ordinary people will be paid per day. The salary is 300, and senior talents such as chefs receive 500 star coins per day. Mr. Yachin is in charge of overall management and is paid 1000 star coins per day. So many. This old man is in luck. The star citizens all looked at Mr. Yachin with envy. With a salary of 1000 per day, even if you work on a prosperous planet outside, you won't be able to earn such a high salary. Old man Yachin subconsciously raised his chest, with pride in his lean and sharp eyes. The old man saw the right person, and now the Star Master has rewarded him. Other star citizens, this guy Lao Chin is so proud, tisk tisk. However, the star citizens who had not made much money all year round and relied on self-sufficiency were very happy after receiving their wages. Soon they took their eyes away from Yachin and looked at Bai Jianchun eagerly. Bai Jianchun lived up to expectations and said, "Now let's settle the wages of the previous few days. The next time we will have to wait a month and pay them together." Her proposal quickly won the support of the star citizens, and they were doubtful if she painted a pie for them. What is in their hands is the real thing. What about the children? Our two children have also helped with a lot of work in the past 2 days. Ya Yongxiang summoned up the courage to ask boldly. Bai Jianchun glanced at Ya Yang's two younger brothers and sister, and thought for a moment, well, Ya is 74 years old. Counting his salary as an ordinary adult, Ya 11 can't do much if he is only 8 years old. Living is considered half an adult. The eyes of the two Ya brothers and sisters shone with excitement, and Ya Yongxiang also showed ecstasy on her face. Bai Qianchun's lips curled up into a chuckle, which relieved Ya Yang's burden. Then she greeted with a smile, "Everyone comes one by one. Line up first. After receiving your salary, everyone goes out directly from the door." Okay, the star citizens immediately grinned, the benches made a clanging sound, and they hurriedly ran over to line up happily. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lan Shan Luzi. Chapter 188. Nongui and other 15 strong men sat at the back of the stone house, in the corner near the back door. They looked eagerly at the star citizens after receiving their wages, looking like primary school students who had been rewarded with little red flowers, holding their heads high and smiling. They walked out of the door grinning from ear to ear, their 15 rough faces showing even more sadness and vicissitudes of life. These days, they get up earlier than chickens and go to bed later than dogs. They do several times more work than these people, but they can't even get a single star coin, and they have to watch them share the money dryly, with envy. My mouth is watering. Gangzu raked his hair, his face was now wrinkled into a shriveled old peach, and his tone was extremely melancholy. It would have been better if we hadn't accepted this mission. Mao Wu also sighed heavily. Yes, if we had not accepted this mission, we would not have sneaked into Muyuan Star secretly. If we had not sneaked into Muyuan Star secretly, we would not have been caught by this cruel Star Master. If we had not been caught by this, if the cruel Star Master is caught, he will not be fed poison. If he is not fed poison, he will not be able to escape. If he is not unable to escape, he will not be detained here as a free cow. If he is not detained here, he will be treated as free. Niu Jiwan will not work here and watch other people hand out money, no. Okay, stop talking about it, you are not a real monk. Nongui saw that the expressions of his brothers were getting more and more sad, and he quickly shouted to stop. This kid Mao Wu was not fed poison because of the experimental potion before. He has never been punished but is still making fun of him, right? Isn't this kid planning to deny him as the boss and leave the brothers behind and escape secretly? Nongui immediately became alert and glanced at him like a flying knife. He said with a smile, but at least we eat well every day. In the past, we lived in the open and licked blood from the knife edge. We can live a better life. Is it as good as it is now? The 14 brothers, including Mao Wu, all shook their heads. No. Nongui continued, then think about whether those ladies had to pay 888 star coins for the buffet barbecue in the evening. We didn't pay. If we rounded up, we also earned 888 star coins. The 14 brothers suddenly realized, yes, we also made money. The envy in his heart was suppressed a little, and Mao Wu smacked his lips. The buffet barbecue at night was indeed delicious, and the skill of Chef Leng Jun can't be said at all, but it just lacks real meat. The other brothers also agreed, yes, after being vegetarian for a long time, I want to eat some meat. I still remember when we were doing the mission on Huana Star, our brothers were so cruel that they pooled their money and took all the star coins for the mission. Did you buy that roasted leg of lamb? I don't know what kind of marinade and seasoning it was baked with. The whole leg of lamb is rosy in color, crispy and mellow, and there's no fishy smell at all when you bite into it. In one word, it's absolutely amazing. I remember, I only tasted it like this in 180 years. Of course I remember it. The taste of the roasted lamb leg was so delicious that I almost went to heaven. Also, we also did a small mission in Tianyu Star, and accidentally caught a whitebait as thick as an arm. We even used it to make a pot of soup with our own crude skills. Ah, that pot of fish soup is milky white in color, the fish meat is smooth and tender, and the taste is so fresh that I can swallow it all on my tongue. The brothers sat together and reminisced about the past. Unexpectedly, they recalled a lot of delicacies they had eaten. They sighed even more for a while. Even the leader Nongui was impressed by these things that were still imprinted deep in his memory. The delicious food shook my mind, and I had the urge to run away. But he suddenly looked up and, oh, he saw a group of old men and women blocking the back door. They all had green eyes, looking at them as if they were seeing flesh, and giving them weird expressions. Smile. Nongui, scared. He looked away guiltily, but who knew that this time it would be even worse, and he directly met the eyes of the ferocious Star Master in front of the room. Nongui's heart skipped a beat, and he gave a reluctant but polite smile, seeing Lord, do you have any instructions? If not, don't look at us like that, it's so late at night, it's so scary. Bai Qianchun showed a kind smile towards them. It is true. You also know that the development of Muyuan planet is in its infancy. Now that the ecological chain of plants has been restored, the ecological chain of animals should also be supplemented, so I plan the next step. Construction and animal husbandry are developed in parallel. You mercenaries are running around doing tasks all year round. You must know more information than others. I want to ask you which species have meat that is more delicious, cheap, and suitable for raising. I am going to wood. Purchased within you and seeing. The star citizens blocking the back door suddenly became interested as soon as they slapped their thighs. They all had bright eyes and left in no hurry. They poured back into the stone house through the back door, looking like they were having a long chat and coming to make suggestions. Star-Lord, we also know something about this. If we want to buy livestock, we can go to Huana Star to purchase them. Huana planet is rich in livestock and is the largest livestock breeding farm in our empire. 60% of the livestock in our empire comes out of there and then is bred. Leng Jun, a chef, also expressed his opinion, although not all the livestock produced by Huanaxing are top-notch meat ingredients, their reed chicken, silky chicken, Cherry Valley duck, Jinding duck, and Jinka beef is a meat ingredient with guaranteed quality, and it is also recognized by chefs as a top-quality farmed meat ingredient. In addition, there are sheep beasts, which are also a major feature on Huana planet. The roasted legs of lamb mentioned by Nongui are roasted with this sheep beast. However, the most suitable sheep beast is roasted whole lamb, which is Huana. Seeing's long-lasting gourmet specialties, only those who don't have a lot of money will settle for the roasted leg of lamb. The Sanhua cow milk on Huana Seeing is also a special feature, with a mellow and fresh herbal aroma, which is better than ordinary milk, is more mellow and suitable for drinking milk and milk jelly. Leng Jun has been a chef for decades and has rich experience. Even though he has lived in seclusion on Wuyuan planet with his wife and son for many years, he still knows the ingredients in the empire like the back of his hand and knows every treasure. He maintained a rigorous attitude and rattled off many livestock that fit the conditions of their Jupiter star and were easy to breed. Bai Qianchun immediately turned her attention to him. Yes, who else knows better meat ingredients than a cook? If you want to buy it, just make a list and buy it according to what he said. Leng Xiao's cheap father is a man who does big things. The 15 Nongui people who had no time to say anything were dumbfounded and blinked blankly. Did they miss some opportunity to make meritorious deeds? Bai Qianchun had no time to care about them, and took advantage of the excitement to start discussing the livestock breeding plan with the star citizens. In order to eat meat, everyone actively participated in it, and each one expressed his or her own thoughts and plans. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luzi. Chapter 189. First of all, the first step is to enclose a piece of land as a unified breeding farm. I think the valley on the other side of the mountain behind is good. There are mountains and water there. The hillsides and valleys are suitable for stocking. The water flow will provide them with convenient drinking water, and that side belongs to the lower reaches of the river and will not pollute our water. No, let's cut off a section of the water source. If Muyuan planet develops in the future, not only our current place, but also other places will have settlements, even cities. By then, we can't share a water source with domestic animals, right? That makes sense. Now the valley is covered with lush trees due to the resurgence of Muyuan star. It blocks out the sky and the sun, and is very gloomy. It is not suitable for breeding. Breeding requires space and sunlight. I heard that those chickens and cows are all likes to bask in the sun. Nongui also quickly intervened in the heated discussion for the sake of presence. Yes, there are large open pastures on Huana planet. The pastures are all grown with fresh and tender grass. What kind of cattle, sheep, and chickens are there? All domestic animals like to eat it. It is said that the reason why the milk of their Sanhua cattle has a grassy aroma is all because of this grass. I accidentally heard this from the steward of the ranch, and it is said that it is still a trade secret. The eyes of the star citizens all lit up. Just plant this kind of grass. Tomorrow we will shovel out the giant trees and weeds in the valley, and then plant the grass again. Du Le is now going through the migration procedures, and he can be regarded as half a person from Jupiter. He also participated in the discussion energetically, and raised the most critical point: how do we purchase goods from Huana planet, woolen cloth? Huana star is the territory of the Shen family, the fourth prince's mother's family. Recently, the fourth prince's reputation has been very high in the empire, and Huana star has also been rising with the tide. Although it is still a medium star, it is expensive and has high taxes, as is the upper star. Moreover, most of them are doing business with acquaintances, and they sell slaughtered fresh meat. They rarely sell live livestock. If we rashly propose to buy, they will probably bully us, and we will be slaughtered. Moreover, they will be slaughtered doubly. When he was kicked out of the military academy, the place he wanted to go to when he left the main star was Huana planet. He analyzed a lot of places before deciding on his first working place. He also specially talked to the classmates from Huana planet in the military academy. I have inquired about some situations, so I still know a lot about the inside of Huana star. The star citizens who valued the star coin said in unison at that time, "This is not acceptable. Mu Yuan Xing is very poor, how could they have the money to take advantage of them?" For a moment, everyone who was originally in high spirits was dejected. What should they do? The livestock breeding plan was stuck at the most critical step. Without livestock, they would have nothing to raise. Bai Qianchun also frowned. It was indeed a bit tricky. Huana Star was no better than other places. Huana Star belonged to the Shen family and was supported by the fourth prince. She and Fen Yuyu were enemies. In this way, she wanted to get away from Fen Yuyu. It would be useless to borrow any help from Yuyu, and it might even be counterproductive. Star Master, Leng Jun looked towards her and lowered his demands. How about we try livestock from other planets? I remember that there are some good quality ones on Tianyu planet, as well as ordinary chickens and ducks. As long as it is fed well, the quality of the meat can be changed. The grass on our Muyuan planet is high quality forage, and I believe that the livestock raised will not be bad. These words immediately attracted the approval of the star citizens. No, the chickens we raised before ate the leftover leaves and bugs we grew, and the meat was good. Anyway, we all ate it. Yes, yes, Star Master, let's buy it and try to raise it first. We don't necessarily need Huana Star's livestock. Bai Qianchun's brows widened. That's right. Our main industry in the future of Muyuan planet will not be livestock breeding. Most of the first phase will be eaten by ourselves. In this way, it must be raised anyway, so it would not be wrong to clean up the area in the valley in the past few days. The star citizens nodded immediately. Yes, yes, let's clean up the valley first. The road on our side has almost been cleaned up. Tomorrow, half of the people will continue to entertain the tourists and clean up the surrounding area, and the other half will go to work in the valley. Seeing that the star citizens were discussing with great interest again, such as when to get up tomorrow morning, where to gather, etc. Bai Qianchun looked at them with a smile, but she was still thinking about how to buy live livestock at low prices from Huana planet. Why settle for second best when you can have the best? And why did she chicken out before even trying it? She had to think of a way first. Ye Qiang was very interested in eating meat, but not interested in raising anything. Now he was so excited that he remembered what Ye Yang had told him before, saying that Star Master could heal his father's leg. He had been thinking about this matter while eating just now. Seeing that the other star citizens were all lost in conversation, he simply dragged his father to Bai Qianchun in person to ask clearly. Bai Qianchun looked at the two similar faces of their father and son who were worried and expectant, and nodded with a smile. Okay, I can start the treatment after I rub the bone-enhancing pill out of his leg, but the process is a bit painful. It's not a good time to do heavy work either. Ye Qiang hurriedly patted his chest and said, I can do my father's share. I have been eating well recently. My strength has become much stronger, and my powers have also increased by one level. This is what Ye Qiang never expected. He is an earth element user, so he is not affected by the wood element on Muyuan star and can practice as usual. However, he did not expect that after he slept the night before yesterday, he would actually be with the villagers. The other wood star people broke through just as fiercely, which surprised him. Well, you can just arrange this yourself, Bai Qianchun said with a smile. I don't think you are lazy, as long as Uncle Ye Quan has finished the design of the house. Speaking of this, Ye Qiang became excited. Star-Lord, my father and I have restored the smallest two-story building in the southwest of the Star-Lord's mansion. The decoration has not been completed yet, but two of the houses have been decorated. Okay, Ye Yang said that Star-Lord, you plan to live in the Star-Lord's mansion after you come back, so you specially arranged it. One room is used as a bedroom, and the other room is a pharmacy. I don't know where Ye Yang moved the medicine cabinets and medicines. The utensils are pretty decent anyway. My father and I helped a little bit to adjust the internal structure of the room. You can go and take a look first. If you don't like it, you can change it. Or after the entire Star-Lord's mansion is repaired, the Star-Lord can use a larger place as a pharmacy. Baiken Chun's eyes lit up and she happily expressed that they were doing a good job and she would go. As for where Ye Yang got the medicine cabinet, it must have been moved from Zhenlong City. The boy sent a lot of messages before but didn't mention it. He must have wanted to give himself a surprise. Well, who knew that Ye Qiang would be the first to say it? I became the richest man in the world by making meatballs. Author, Lanshan Luziy. Chapter 190. Bai Qianchun raised her eyes and looked over, and sure enough she saw that Ye Yang, who was still talking just now, stopped talking about breeding and shoveling shit, and was staring at the back of Ye Qiang's head with a mouth of silver teeth between his teeth. Even Leng Xiao's cold knife-like eyes shot towards Ye Qiang. Come on, he probably had a hand in moving the medicine cabinet. Bai Qianchun smiled at them in a good mood, and Ye Yang's tone was relieved immediately. Although he was still a little unwilling, he still withdrew his eyes and let go of the poor back of Ye Qiang's head. Leng Xiao turned his head to the side, his face was cold and paralyzed, and he seemed to be too annoyed to look over. Ye Qiang, who had no idea that the back of his head was almost injured and nearly shot into pieces by a knife in the eye, was grinning and continued to ask his father if there was anything else that needed attention during the treatment. His biological father, Ye Quan, noticed this little commotion and secretly shook his head and scolded the silly son. He had been confused at home before, and the surprise that the two brothers had prepared was exposed by him. Dong dong dong. On the open wooden door of the stone house, a slender jade-like hand knocked carelessly. Everyone in the house who was busy subconsciously turned their heads to look, and saw a man wearing low-luxury casual clothes at the door casually wearing two long trousers. Legs and slender body were leaning lazily against the door. One hand was in his trouser pocket, and the other hand was stretched out, and he lightly clasped the wooden door. In the quiet sky of the dark night, bright silver light shone on him, and his handsome face seemed to be covered with a cold shimmer. Looking from a distance, he looked like an immortal king descending from the heavenly palace. The immortal lord turned around, and his face was completely exposed in front of everyone. His original noble and cold face became evil, and his beautiful peach blossom eyes seemed to be smiling but not smiling, with a sense of languor. Lazy and casual. When he met their eyes, he didn't panic. He even waved and waved to the big guys with the hand he used to hold the door. Hello, everyone. Hello. The eyes of a group of people in the stone house all fell on him, staring at. Their eyes were looking at each other with strange eyes. They all knew what happened in the evening. The news that their star master, who had just grown up, was married, also spread during the meal. When it fell on the ears of a group of old men and women, it exploded. As if a pot was boiling, he recognized the boy who was married to the star master at a glance. The young man is quite good looking. If nothing else, his appearance is a good match for their star master. Well, not bad. Besides, he has a general temperament, although he looks like a weakling and has no posture, but the laziness and dignity in his gestures are not something ordinary people can cultivate, and it is not bad at all. It is said that he is also the heir to a duke and the richest man in the empire, which fits their requirements for a golden son-in-law on Wuyuan planet. Look good, have a good temperament, and most importantly, have money. Even those smiling peach blossom eyes made some old ladies look displeased. They all said that men with peach blossom eyes are romantic. This guy is a young prince and a super rich man. This condition doesn't look like him at all. He is the template of a good family man. The smile on Feng Yuyu's lips gradually stiffened. What was going on with the dissecting eyes of these old men and women? It was as if a laser had been installed and his whole body was shot through. It felt weird. Feng Yuyu wiped sweat in his heart. Ye Qin, who was closest to the door, had a sullen face. The little old man stared at him seriously and walked towards him, saying in a bad voice, "Boy, what are you doing here?" Being stared at by the majestic eyes of the little old man, Fenyu, a lazy man, could no longer slouch. He moved his back against the doorframe, stood upright subconsciously, raised the corners of his mouth and smiled politely, "Hello, uncle, I'll come. I picked my wife up to have a rest. She had not rested during the whole journey on the battleship. Then she had a fight and consumed a lot of energy. She must be tired. Do you think there is anything else that needs to be discussed here? If you're not in a hurry, can you move it to tomorrow? It's not too early tonight, so it's better for everyone to rest early. You and your grandparents should also go to bed early and get up early so that you can work energetically tomorrow, right?" The old ladies nodded with satisfaction. The young man was quite considerate, so I can get some extra points. The most important thing is that the young man spoke nicely. But the upright old man Yechin didn't look at him with admiration, and his eyes were a little more disdainful. This boy looked down on others. Even if he stayed up all night tonight, he would still be energetic enough to work tomorrow morning. What's more, the Star Master is stronger than him. How could he be tired after only a few hours? The Star Master was in high spirits when he discussed the livestock breeding plan with them just now, and he didn't even look tired at all. Fenyu, who realized that the old man in front of him didn't buy it, had a depressed face. He poked his head and looked inside. When he saw Bai Qianchun, who was supported by everyone and surrounded by people, his face lit up with joy, and he quickly gave a look. Past. Tisk, Bai Qianchun lowered her eyes and wanted to pretend she didn't see it, but no, she still had to be dedicated after taking the money. She stood up and smiled at the star citizens in the stone house, and said, "Let's stay here for today. Please ask Grandpa Qin to make arrangements for those who go to the valley to clean up tomorrow." Yechin, who was standing in front of Fenyu, immediately turned around and said seriously, "Don't worry, Star Master." Then Bai Qianchun told the family and his son when to find her tomorrow and announced the adjournment of the meeting. Then she calmly walked towards Fenyu, who was waiting at the door with bright eyes in the room. "Let's go." Bai Qianchun raised her eyes and glanced at his smiling face, greeted him coldly, then brushed past his feet and stepped out of the door, taking the lead to walk forward. Fenyu was not annoyed, and followed her lazily with his long legs. The old men and women in the stone house immediately shouted excitedly, "Hey, yo, our Star Master and his wife look like a good match. They both look good, and the children born in the future are destined to be good looking. Yes, I don't know when our Star Master will be able to conceive. Except for the Yang family, no cub has been born for a long time on our Muyuan planet. Now that our Muyuan star has become rich, in the future the Star Master's little cubs will no longer have to worry about having no money to buy milk powder. If you ask me, there is no need to buy milk powder. Didn't we have milk fruit on Muyuan planet before? This kind of fruit is rich in nutrients and is better than milk powder. Let's look for it when we go out to work tomorrow. We have to first put it in our Star Master's house. Prepare the rations for the cub. Yes, you have to prepare for this in advance. The young couple just got married and are very affectionate. You never know when the baby will come.